So here I have three different bean varieties. This is yard-long beans, a purple yard-long bean. You could see how the dry husk is kind of purplish. So this is a purple yard-long bean. And these are cowpeas. Also, these have a purple shell too. And these are winged beans, and they're dry. They're dry as well. So I'm going to talk about how you would shell these and the differences in shelling them and saving seeds. So when you're going to save seeds from any type of bean, you want to wait until the pod is mature and that it's drying out a bit. So you can see this is a winged bean pod, and they're normally bright green, but see, this one's already drying out, and you could just hear how it's kind of dry. Ideally, you'd leave it till it was fully dry. So there's some in here that are fully dry. Ideally, you'd leave the winged bean or any bean on the plant till it's fully dry, but sometimes you can't really do that. For example, if it's going to be raining a lot and it's going to be raining all day, and your pods are going to be dry, they're going to have already be mature and they're going to be drying out, but it's going to be raining all day, you're going to end up with a pod that's soaking wet, and that could cause the seeds inside to germinate. And you don't want that, obviously, because you want to save the seeds. So when that's happening, especially if it's going to be raining and just overcast, I like to take the pods off before they're fully dry, but while they're still after they're still well developed. So you kind of just get a feel for it. You'll be able to tell after you've seen your bean plant, you'll be able to tell when the pods are fully dry and when they're starting to dry out and everything. So then if you're gonna bring them in to the house to finish drying, you gotta really keep them somewhere with air. I like to use cardboard boxes, and you just put them in there. You could put tape down there to seal off the edges, just so any beans don't fall out. But yeah, cardboard boxes are great. Don't put it into plastic bags or anything, because the humidity in the pod will cause it to mold. So you really want to wait till it's dried out. So I just like to put it into cardboard boxes, and then when they're fully dried out is when I'd like to go ahead and take out the seeds. Oh, it fell. See, this is a yard-long bean seed. So when they're dry is when you take out the seeds, and then after I shell them, I like to leave it in a jar, uncovered for a few days, and then after I really know that they're all dry, then I'll seal them off, if I want to seal them off. But you really want to make sure they're dry. You can't seal them into a jar unless they're dry, because if not, they will mold. First, I'm going to talk about varieties that are meant to be eaten as green beans. So let me get one of these pods out. So this is a yard-long purple bean. This is meant to be eaten as a green bean. So when the plant is putting out the pods and they're still nice and young and flexible, you're gonna harvest the whole pod and you're gonna eat the whole pod. You're gonna eat the little baby seeds inside that are not fully developed. You're gonna eat the husk. You're gonna eat everything. So these varieties, when they're dry, they tend to not be that easy to take the dry seeds out. So if you see this, each seed is in here, and it's kind of hard to open this all up and get all the seeds out. So this is a bit time consuming. So you see here, each pod has a couple seeds inside of it, and it's just a little bit hard to get the seeds out from this one compared to a variety that's meant to be eaten as a dry bean. So this is a yard-long purple bean, and I'm just gonna get these seeds, throw them into the container. So here we have a winged bean. Let me get, and that's pretty dry. So this is a winged bean. So again, these are meant to be eaten green. No one's No one's really opening up all these pods and taking out the seeds. There's other varieties that are normally used for that. The only reason you'd be taking out the seeds is to save seeds to grow more wing beans. So here, these seeds are a little bit easier, but still, like, you open them up, the seeds are still stuck on there, and you gotta like individually pull them off. It's a little bit harder than this other variety I'm gonna show you all. So, see, this is just a little bit more difficult, a little bit more time consuming to take the seeds out. So that's another green bean. Now we have cowpeas, and cowpeas, at least these cowpeas that I have, are more of a variety that's meant to be eaten as a dry bean. So you'd get a bunch of cowpeas and you'd get just the seed inside. See, and then when I open them, they just fall right out. They're falling everywhere. So you want to do it like in a container. But when you open them, sometimes you'll get like bad ones. See? So I'll like clean through that and pick out the bad ones. But yeah, when you're dealing with a bean variety that's meant to be eaten just this, like the cowpea, it's meant to, like, you get a bunch of pods, you let them dry out, you shell them, and then you cook this stuff, the seeds. So that is going to be much easier to shell. And that's why it's used for that, because to make like a pot of like bean soup, you need a lot of beans. And if you have to open up a bunch of yard-long bean pods, that it's like super hard to take out a seed, and it takes forever to just get like a cup of seeds. Like, no one's gonna be doing that. You know, you can cook those yard-long bean seeds, but it's really not worth the effort because it's just so hard to get the seeds out. But for the cowpea, like, you just crack it and the seeds just fall right out. They're much easier, much faster to take the seeds out. Now, if you have a ton of like bean seeds that are like shell beans, so like a black bean or cowpea or a kidney bean or anything like that that's meant for this to be eaten, there are ways that you can do it faster. So you could like get your hand in a bucket with the seeds and just with the pods, I mean, like you could stick your hand in this. Like you could stick your hand in here and just go and crush them all up, and the pods will open up easily and the seeds will easily fall out, and then you could just take off the pods from the top, like the empty pods, throw them out and keep the seeds that fall to the bottom. But I saw a video on YouTube of this woman who had like a simple technique for shelling beans. So I'm gonna link that video down below so you guys can check that out. But when it comes to this stuff, like, I guess if you cracked it, like if you crushed it, it would be a bit easier. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is just gonna be more difficult to work with no matter what. And it's okay because, like, I'm not interested in getting like tons and tons of seeds of this to make like a bean soup. I'm interested in saving seeds for replanting. Whereas with the cowpea, I want to save enough seeds to make like a meal out of the dried seeds. So the yard-long bean seeds and the wing bean seeds I'm saving to sell on my Etsy shop. So if you want to check that out, and like if you're looking for those seeds and you want to buy some, I'm going to link that down below too. But the cowpeas, I'm not going to be selling them. These are actually a variety from Baker Creek. I think they're called Purple Hull Pink Eye. I think that's what they're called. They're like a Purple Hull Pink Eye cowpea or something. Now you can eat this as a green bean too, or even as a pea. So when the pod is still green but the seeds inside are fully formed but not dry, you can open it up and take out the little green, like the little seeds that are still green inside, and make that like peas. like green peas. So beans are really cool. You can eat them a lot of different ways. And I'm going to shell these all out and show you how much I'm getting from them. But just remember, like, beans that are meant to be eaten as shell beans, just they're way easier to take the seeds out. Just fall right out. Look at that. Super easy. Cleaned all the seeds, the winged bean seeds. These are the cowpeas, and these are the yard-long bean seeds. And here you can see all these are all the pods. This will go like into the compost. You see here how there's just the white stuff, like leftover chunks of the pod or whatever. You can sit down and pick it all out, but it's much easier just to blow on it. So I'm gonna tip this out onto the table. And it's much easier when you have put tape in the box, because then the seeds will get under here. So you can see, like here, I taped the edges so it's like pretty much enclosed. This works really well for bigger seeds, the cardboard boxes. But if you're doing like really, really tiny seeds, you really want like something that's plastic that's really well sealed off. I'm gonna put tape on this one. And all I'm using is just like this like masking tape, this paper tape. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the name for this is called. I think it's threshing, and I also think it's called winnowing, but I'm not fully sure. But if you search up threshing or winnowing, you're gonna find similar things to this. If you have a lot of seeds, you could do this with like a blow dryer or a fan, set some distance away and do it like outside or in a garage or something, because there's just gonna go like dust everywhere. But if it's just a little bit, I find that blowing on it is just fine. So you could see here. And that helps to clean it up. And you could just move it around and like do it again until it's all cleaned up. And that's what I do. If I have a lot, I'll get 2 bowls, like plastic bowls, and I'll turn on a fan, and I'll go outside and I'll put the fan there, and then I stand a couple feet away from the fan, like maybe 3 feet away, with the fan blowing towards like where I am. And then I just pour the seeds from one bowl into another, and the fan will blow out all this dry stuff, and then you're gonna be left with clean seed. So yeah, I'll show you all the seeds cleaned up. But these wing bean seeds are so pretty. They look like little stones. Now that these are all cleaned up, there's no more little shell pieces. I like to just go through them, like just look at them, and then if there's any that are like not well developed, or like, look at this one. I don't know if you can really tell the difference, but this one is like smaller. It's not as plump as that one. So this one's not like that good of a seed compared to this one. Nice and plump, and this one has kind of like a dent on it. So this is not that very good of a seed. It might germinate and it might grow a plant, but this is a healthier seed. So I like to pick these out. There's variation in seed size. So like these two seeds, they're different sizes, but they're both like nice and plump. And that's normal. Like, it's normal for some seeds to be bigger than others, but you just want to check for like misshapen seeds. So like you see these seeds, they're just not a good shape. These two are good on the left. And then these seeds are just like really small, or just like kind of misshapen. They got like dents in them. They look kind of shrivelly. So those kinds of seeds, you don't want to keep them because they're not going to do too well. Like, they might germinate and grow a plant, but they're not going to be as healthy as the other ones. I have already some seeds in this jar, and I'm going to get these, put them in the jar, and then I'm going to leave this jar uncovered for a few days, and then I'll cover it up. There is a good seed, and then this seed's kind of just like really small and shriveled up a bit. So, and these are just kind of like, it could be possible that some of these germinated. If it was like kind of humid, some of these might have germinated, and then they dry up because they germinated. They won't like hold their moisture, and then they'll just look pretty bad. I'm gonna be keeping the cowpeas to eat them. And I have seed from last year that I didn't get too much, and I saved it. And I have enough this year to like actually make a meal. So when you're growing dry beans, you really need to have a lot of plants to get a good amount of seeds to make a meal. But I don't have like enough space right now for that. Like, I don't have enough gardening space for that. I'm gonna do the same with the yard-long bean seeds and pick out any that don't look too good. I wanted to show you this example here. You see the seed? The coating, like the shell, is coming off. So, see, this is the inside of the seed, the white bit. So this is not good. So you want to throw that out. I could probably just crumble this up and peel it. See? Yeah, you don't want that. The yard-long bean seeds, they kind of just like get this little papery thing that gets stuck on the seed. So, like, I find that that's normal. I think it happens when it stays in the pod for like longer, and the pod dries out a lot more. So if you just like kind of scratch it, it'll normally just come off, and then you have like a clean seed.